Welcome to the Elemental Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Katrina Starr. I am the alchemist for extraordinary men, and I am delighted to have Mr. Shay's son on the podcast. This will be a 3-part series about radical self-acceptance. The conversation is rich and full of nuggets of information that will help you in expanding and being a leader, a visionary, a creative, and a business professional. These places of radical self-acceptance, accepting our goodness and our power within us, means accepting our sexuality, our spirituality, and all of the places where we were told we were not worthy or not good as a child. So with this, I'm so delighted that Mr. Sun took time out of his busy schedule to be able to connect in this amazing conversation. So sit back, enjoy, and be in a place where you can actually feel what Mr. Sun really believes in. He feels that misunderstood wise ass leaders shine their badass light the brightest when they lead authentically and unapologetically. And as for many of you who have been listening to this podcast, you know that this place is all about authentic communication, radical self-acceptance, and radical honesty. I'm so delighted. If you have questions, you can reach out to me at katrinastarr.com. The latest and greatest version of a podcast is the Love the Destroyer, which is part of this conversation as well. So check that one out. It's my newest podcast, and it's available on iTunes and Google and all the places where you can find the yummy podcasts like this. So sit back, enjoy, feel this connection to what Shay is offering for us, an invitation to unshackle leaders from feeling emotionally stuck. And you can feel his passion for helping others and supporting their happiness. He actually is an amazing soul, and I'm so grateful to have him here today on the podcast. His bio is in the information, and you can check it out. And without further ado, I welcome Shay to this podcast, The Elemental Lifestyle. It is my honor and privilege and excitement and joy, actually, to have Shay's son here. I am excited about this conversation that we're having today. Welcome, Shay.
Thank you for having me, Katrina. I'm so excited.
It's so, we've been sharing places of conversation over the last few weeks, and I love the way that we just converse and are able to have this space of authentic communication that provides a lot of enlightenment and joy.
I feel the same way. Being with like-minded individuals is one of the joys in life.
It's a place of exponential consciousness flowing, isn't it? It just allows different access points to what we're all really desiring.
Yeah. I have 2 tattoos. One is a singular phoenix on one shoulder, and the other one is a double phoenix. And what I love about that image is that the 2 phoenixes are facing one another. And by just a phoenix being itself, by flapping its wings, it automatically fans the flame of the other. And it's just this beautiful synergy.
And well, speaking of like fanning the flame, I mean, the places of what you and I have been kind of discussing is some of the places of success, and success doesn't necessarily mean happiness. And for people to really, there's an ache and a desire to really understand what joy and happiness is in life, and that success is defined each and by ourselves. It's not necessarily an external thing. So what is success for you?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah, I think success is really about alignment with your own sense of self, your own agency, right? For me, if you lose your authenticity, I think you forfeit a success in the long term. I think you might experience success in the short term, but you over time it starts eroding things in your psyche. So for me, success is providing emotional and psychological safety to myself and others. And from that creates a space for courageous play, for courageous intimacy on all levels, either in a friendship level or in a lover context, or even just when you're pumping gas and you smile at someone else and they just feel like the world is just a little bit safer because there's one more smile in the world.
I mean, isn't that really what I'm hearing from you is a place of how important emotional safety for each of us, that we are sovereign in creating that for ourselves and then also offering that to others.
Yeah, I think because our brains are here to help us stay alive, right? I mean, that's what the brain does. And I believe that hearts are helping us to thrive in the context of that survival, that it's okay for your nervous system to be at peace, knowing the fact that that you're loved, that you can love yourself. I mean, it's funny because I was sharing just yesterday, I'm in a book study by Alan Grant called Think Again. And I've been thinking again about my life because so much of my sense of self has been outsourced over the years. And including, either when after my divorce, I got into this crisis moment of feeling like my sexual pleasure is outsourced to my next potential person, right? And then even when it comes to my spirituality, I didn't realize I had been outsourcing that for a long time. So even yesterday, I went to church. I go to a spiritual center, and they do meditation, silent meditation. And I sat down in silence. And then suddenly my heart started singing, but it actually sang an older song. And the song was, God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. And then my heart sang something else, and it actually shocked me. It was, Shay is so good. Shay is so good. Shay is so good. He's so good to me. And the reason why that was such a powerful moment for me is because my three shadows, I was born out of wedlock. So my first one is, I'm a mistake. These are my shadow affirmations. And the other one is, I am not good, meaning I'm not competent. And then the last one is, I am bad, meaning I'm a bad person. So for me to sing Shay is so good, oh man, I almost started tearing up myself, because I've realized the fact that so much of my spiritual agency and my happiness agency and my sexual pleasure agency and all of that is within me. I don't have to go on Amazon Black Friday to purchase it.
The importance of what you're saying right now, I just really want our listeners to really just feel that place of the power of this. That by saying these things to yourself, you're communicating it to everyone else.
Yes. Yes. Because I provide myself with this sense of goodness, then I look at the goodness of other people. If you spot it, you got it. And that doesn't mean just things that trigger you. You can be triggered by other people's goodness. You can see someone else being kind to another person, and that's the thing that activates you. In fact, it's funny, when I talk about the women I've been attracted to in my life, it's actually been for very non-traditional guy reasons. In fact, I remember falling in love with I'm divorced now, but my wife, I remember we got to know each other in China. She's not even Chinese. And there was a homeless man without legs, and he was blind. And she knelt down and put some cash in his hands and held his hands just for a moment. And even though he could not see her, her face was very close to his. And it was actually her compassion that really, really just solidified that, wow, this woman is amazing. So in that sense, compassion is sexy. Compassion is attractive. Kindness is attractive. And I believe that when we can show kindness and compassion and those things to ourselves, we then have that to give to other people.
Ooh, when we show kindness and compassion to ourselves, we then can give it to others. We know that you're enjoying this podcast episode, and there will be 2 more parts to this series. So stay tuned for this incredible interview. And in the now, if you are in emotional overwhelm, feel free to reach out to either myself or Shay. The place of support is real and it's authentic, and you get to be able to experience and express the version that is most important for you to express in this lifetime. Unlocking that place of personal power is so vital for you to build that place of happiness and joy in your life. It shows a lot about us as humans, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. And I believe the fact that actually our very first experience of this was in the womb and after. I believe that our parents, especially our mothers, when we're laying on our mother's breast nursing and listening to her heartbeat, and when she has that oxytocin flowing through her and it activates our oxytocin, I believe that at that point, it's that Mother Earth creation intersection. And I think that is, I mean, for me, like in terms of the sexual journey of foreplay, even before in bed, all the way to pillow talk. I mean, there's something for me that's magical when a woman is laying her head on my shoulder and we're talking, because oxytocin has already been created and there's this moment of intimacy and peace and a sense that all is well with the world.
It's true connection.
Yeah.
True alignment. I want to just reflect to our listeners who are basking in this energy, because we're creating an energy, a synergy here between you and I, and the place of knowing that we're not dependent on another to feel those things, yet we can open up to the places of those avenues of connection when there is safety and a place of deep acknowledgement of self, of that power that we have within ourselves.
I honestly believe that it always begins with your relationship with yourself. And you're just inviting other people into that relationship with yourself. So in a sense, it's this like very strange threesome. It's you, yourself, and that other person. And actually that other person, and then there's so it's actually not a threesome, maybe it's a foursome. But my point is the fact that it really is about two people's, your relationship with yourself is about your compassion, is about that love. It's self-love and all of that. It's all that talk that's happening in your head all the time, right? And when you interact with someone else who's also having a beautiful conversation with themselves, you're having this beautiful moment, because it's not about performance. It's about connection. It's about service. It's about being human. It's about being human with the other person without shame. And I believe that because shame interrupts intimacy. So before you engage with someone else, if you have not taken care of your own shame, sexual shame, then your interaction with the other person is going to be limited. It's not going to be a full expression of your authenticity. But when it is, when you don't have that, oh my gosh, you are showing up fully. They are showing up fully. And I'm not sure if there's anything better than that. Being seen and seeing and being seen, being loved and being loved in return. Maybe that's what success looks like to me in bed. And I only
Yes.
say maybe because of the fact that I'm almost 50, and maybe 50 years from now, maybe I'll think different. But currently, I believe that that is the epitome. But then again, I would say to myself that I mean, I have a girlfriend and I love her, and also know that if in my life, if I did not have someone else, I also want to have inner peace when it's just myself, and if it's me enjoying food, if it's me enjoying my own body, if it's me enjoying a drink, or me enjoying music, or me enjoying nature, I want to have that inner peace, calm, contentment that sometimes I don't always see when it comes to people in life. It doesn't matter if they're successful because they are because of financial reasons, or if there's a status issue, or if whatever, they look good as, like in comparison to other families, whatever it is. But when the world goes quiet at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're staring up at the ceiling, can you feel deep into your heart and know that all is right with the world because you have created all that's right, and you receive that and you allow that into your heart? For me, that's awesome.
Mm, that is awesome. And that, the goodness piece, that language, I want to really emphasize the importance of that. There was a dream I had 4 years ago about it is your goodness, right? It is your goodness. This was a dream that I had of the Queen of England. And it was a place of care for our little one, care for the baby, care
Mm,
for what we're allowing. And it is our goodness. It is our goodness. And there's been a separation. What I've seen in my clients, and I know that you have seen that as well, is a separation of our sexuality, and that it isn't from our goodness, that it is actually caped in shame and misalignment and manipulation, right? That it's covered in that. And so being able to align with our sexuality is from our goodness because it's connected to our heart.
yeah.
That is a place that really speaks to me. And isn't that authentic? That's success. That's authentic. And so many of us are confused by that. Sexuality is our goodness. What about spirituality? Our connection to spirit, to source, knowing that we have everything that we can access directly.
Yeah.
That's our goodness. I bask in what you allowed yourself to feel.
Mm, thank you.
And yeah, like one of the places of growth as a woman for me was I had so much shame around my sexuality. And to even firmly believe that it is from my goodness, to understand that, I think we are bridging that gap between there is no separation between our sexuality and spirituality.
I agree.
There's no separation there. And I think that we've been told that those are separate. So that was the places of creating deep shame for us
Yeah,
humans.
I agree. I don't know if I can agree any more than, I mean, it's so true. I honestly think that our spiritual religious beliefs about our nature colors what happens in the bedroom, what colors the way that we see ourselves when we're naked. And when you're speaking, I thought of that 13, 15-year-old teenager in in Amsterdam hiding from the Nazis. And she says, in spite of everything, I believe that people are good at heart. And I believe it's a space of living, having lived life, innocence lost, and still believing that there's goodness in yourself and in others. It's greater innocence. It's understanding, having gone through experience and knowing the fact that you choose to take a stand, a courageous stand in life. Believing the fact that goodness is truth. And the lie is the fact that we're not good. And I as a kid, my father had us, me and my brother and sister, memorize Chinese wisdom. And one of them is very famous. It goes, 人之初性本善. And it means when we are born good. And when I started going to Western religion, I was told the fact that I had a sinful nature. And I mean, I was going to be a missionary. Like I went to seminary, and I can tell you that affects your psyche. And so for myself, I've now returned back to that Chinese wisdom that we are actually born good. And because we are born good, we don't have to hide. There is no hiding. There is no shame for my own body. And another person's body also is not about shame. It's an expression of creation. And when I look at a tree, I don't ask a tree to cover up because the tree looks shameful. I don't ask my cat to wear clothes. I don't. The cat just is. The tree just is. And when I'm naked, I just am. In the same way, when my girlfriend and I are together and we are unclothed, this is who you are. You are an expression of Mother Earth's, the universe's creation. And I want to just worship your body in this moment. And as I worship you and you worship me, I believe that is communion with the divine. That is spirituality. It's beautiful.
It is. That is spirituality. There is no separation. 2 more parts to this series. That is spirituality. So stay tuned for this incredible interview. So reach out to Shay or myself and leave comments. Share this podcast episode. If there's places that really excite you and you would like to have a follow-up place of a conversation between Shay and I, leave it in the comments. Message us. Say, hey, can you guys talk about this subject? And we would be delighted to offer that to you. Thank you for tuning in and taking the time to be nourished, to be heard, to be seen, to be understood. You are important.